A very good morning, guys. In the previous class, we completed the second part of this chapter, that was commercial paper. Now, as discussed, I take the third and the final part of this chapter, that is working capital financing, and the name of the part is factoring. A new part, you all are doing it for the first time in your studies. Now, back students, you all know Semester final, you all had an FM chapter called as credit management. The concept here is same of credit management, but a little bit advanced level. Now first, what was there in credit management? You were dealing with customers by selling goods on credit. There was some cash sales or there was fully credit sales, but there was credit sales. So in credit management, the concept was how the company manages its credit and receivables. Company had their own department who was managing the debtors and the bills receivable. That was credit management. Now here, when I say factoring, what is factoring? Understand the difference. Factoring is a financial service. Factoring is a financial service where the company doesn't take the headache of managing its receivables. They outsource it to an agent or an agency who specializes in services of factoring. So, in short, factoring is a service provided by agencies where you don't have to take any headache. They will look after all your receivable management, that is goods sold on credit to debtors, or if you have created bills against debtors, they will take care of everything. That is the concept of factoring. If you take the service of factoring, you become their client and they become the factor. Important for objective. So, factor is the person who will look after the receivable management of the client. Now, obviously, it is their bread and butter, so they will charge you something for giving their services, which is generally in the form of commission. There can be other modes also, but the basic remuneration of the factor is to get certain percentage of commission on the amount of factor. So that is the meaning of factoring. Again, I'll repeat, factoring is a financial service provided by agent or agency where they take care of the client entire receivable management, and for their remuneration they charge certain percentage in the form of commission. That is the basic meaning of factoring. Now see, there are different types of factoring, but slowly I'll get into that, and that is for theory. So we will focus right now only on the practical sums point of view. Now see guys, now when I say factoring now, as I told you, it is the service provided by the factor, but it is not feasible for every company to have a factor. The services of factor are considered or are taken only by those companies or corporates or business organizations where the volume of credit sales is more and they can bear the cost of factor. Because sometimes what happens, your transaction ka volume is low. So you say 1 or 2% from your company also can take care of that. So why unnecessary outsource? But when you feel that if I take care of the management, I appoint a staff, it will be more expensive and it is feasible to appoint a factor, thoda commission lega theek hai, but my headache gets done, then factor comes into picture. So it is not necessary that every company goes for factoring. Many companies go provided the option of factoring has to be feasible for all the company, because you have to see cost into consideration. You have to take the cost into consideration also. If my, say for example, my earnings of credit sale is say 10 lakh example, or factor का cost ही 5-6 लाख आता है, doesn't make sense. So you have to do your costing, you have to do the research, and then you have to take a call whether factoring is advisable or not. The sums what we are going to do. In this session, I'm just taking one basic sum so that the concept gets clear. The majority of the sums are such where you have to see that what is the cost where factor is not there, you are taking care of it. And in the same situation, if there is a factor, what will be the cost? So then you have to compare, and only if your cost of factoring is less than what you manage, then only it will be advisable to go for factoring option as I discussed in the starting cover. So guys, again, factoring is a financial service where factor takes care of all your receivable management, that is the receivable management of the client. He will do all the billing cuttings, he will take care of collection, bad debts. Now, bad debts, there are two things. It may be borne by entirely by client, it may be borne partly by client, partly by factor. It depends upon the situation and contract. SY may all have done consignment, correct? There used to be delegatory commission. You used to pay higher commission if in the form of delegatory if the consignee bear the bad debt cost. Same way here, there will be situation where part of the bad debts can be borne by the factor, but in that case, the commission will be a bit higher. That we will see towards the end, because when we come towards the end of the chapter, there are a couple of sums where there is recourse, factoring and non-recourse. Let's not get into that today. When the right time comes, that time I will discuss. So now, after giving you the brief of factoring, let's take one basic sum and get the concept. I'm just doing one sum in this so that the session becomes a lighter session. You all get the concept so that in the next class, I can go a little bit faster. Concept is the same, but the sums what I'm going to do from the next class onwards, there will be a little bit extra calculation and presentation. But as I mentioned, first let's focus only on today's class. The sum what I'm going to do is first question number 33 from our sheet. Question 33. Let's see. A company is considering to engage a factor. The following information is available. The current average collection period for the company's debtors is 80 days and half percent of debtors default. Debtors default means that is nothing but bad debts. The factor has agreed to pay money due after 60 days and will take the responsibility of any loss on account of bad debts. That means here, if you appoint a factor, he will take care of your bad debts. That means if there is a factor, there is no bad debts here. Next, annual charge for the factoring is 2% of the turnover, that is sales. 2% of turnover, that is sales, payable annually in arrears. Administration cost saving is likely to be 1 lakh per annum. Annual sales on credit are 1 crore. Variable cost is 80% of the sale price. Company's cost of borrowing is 15% per annum. This is important. Cost of borrowing 15% per annum is important. This is your opportunity cost. What it is, I will show you when I start this. Assume the year is of 365 days. Should the company enter into a factoring agreement? They are seeking your opinion. They are seeking your opinion whether factoring arrangement should be done or not. So guys, as I mentioned, what we will do is, we'll have to do two calculations. First, what will be your total cost if you yourself manage? That means factor is not there. Second, what will be your cost if you appoint a factor? Let's get the cost and then we will do the comparison. Okay. So first, let's take the first part of this 33 part A. Calculation of total cost when factor not appointed. Calculation of total cost when factor not appointed. Okay. Particulars and single column of amount. Particulars and single column of amount. Now see, this is the situation where factor is not appointed. That means you yourself are managing the receivable. Now let's see. Now see the first point. The current average collection period for the company's data is 80 days and half% debtors default. That means your bad debts is 0.5% of sales. So what I do, my first cost what I will do is I will take bad debts. I will take bad debts. Now how much it is? 0.5%. Now we know bad debts is always percentage of sales. So what I do, put a bracket. 1 crore is my sales and how much? 0.5%. So 0.5%. So 1 crore ka 0.5% gives you 50,000. Okay. So if factor is not there, I will have to take care of bad debts. If factor is not there, I will have to take care of bad debts. So my bad debts will be 1 crore, that is my total sales ka 0.5%. Then see, the factor has agreed to pay money due after 60 days and will take the responsibility of loss on account of bad debts. If you assign the job, if you give the contract to the factor, collection period will be 60 days. Here it is 80 days. When you appoint a factor, it is 60 days. So when we come to the second part, that time we will see that 60 days. But they have mentioned if you appoint factor, bad debts will be out. Bad debts will be taken care by the factor. In short, his commission will take care of bad debts also if there is need. Okay. Now see the second point. The annual charge of the factoring is 2% of turnover payable annually in arrears. Annual charge means this is commission to be paid to the factor. We are in the first part where there is no factoring. When we come to the second part, that time we will see the commission ka part. Now see, admin cost saving is likely to be 1 lakh per annum. Understand carefully. If factor is appointed, saving of admin cost is 1 lakh. That means what? If factor is not appointed, I will incur admin cost of 1 lakh. Getting it? See, यहाँ पे मैंने bad debts bear किया. If factor is there, no bad debts. Similarly, what they say, same information but given in a twisted way. If factor is appointed, saving in admin cost is 1 lakh. That means if factor is not there, I will incur admin cost of 1 lakh. So here you will get administration cost, that is 1 lakh. Here you will get administration cost, that is 1 lakh. So bad debts 1 crore ka 0.5%, admin cost will be 1 lakh. Now see, annual sales are on credit 1 crore, variable cost is 80% of sale price. Company's cost of borrowing is 15% per annum. Assume 365 days. Now see, go back to the first point. See the first line. The average collection period of the debtors is 80 days. See, I mentioned in the starting, concept of factor will come into picture only when there is credit sales. If there is no credit sales, there is no question of credit management. If there is no credit management, there is no question of appointing a factor. So now, understand this. Same thing you have done in SEM 5 credit management. If I appoint a factor, okay, if I appoint a factor, he will take care of receivable. But if I don't appoint, I will take care of receivable. So now what will happen? If I sell goods on credit, My collection period is 80 days. Understand it. This is opportunity cost, what I am going to explain. We also call it as notional cost. If I sell goods on credit today, I will get money after 80 days. So what will happen? मेरा पैसा 80 days के लिए ब्लॉक हो गया. I sell goods to customer on credit. My money gets blocked for 80 days. I will get the money after 80 days. Now, had I not done that, I could have invested money somewhere else. I would have got certain return, which they are giving you, it is 15%. That is notional cost. That means पैसा किधर इन्वेस्ट नहीं किया. You all have done earlier in costing also. पैसा किधर इन्वेस्ट नहीं किया, but अगर करता, had I done it, I would have got so much interest. So this is notional cost. Notional cost means it is not an expense actually incurred, but had you gone for a better option, you would have earned this much. In short, it is earnings or income which has been sacrificed. Therefore, will be treated as loss or an expense. Notional loss or a notional expense. Sorry. Again, I'll explain. Notional loss, notional expense क्या होता है? It is not an actual expense. अगर मैं किधर और इन्वेस्ट करता तो मेरा पैसा ब्लॉक नहीं होता, मुझे 15% इंटरेस्ट मिलता. So when you take decision, this is not actual accounting. Your entire FM is taking decision. So when I take decision, I have to take decision. I will keep in mind the notional cost also. So what will happen here? I'll have to calculate my interest on investment in data. Okay. So my one more cost, same receivable management. Interest on investment. This is interest on investment, or you can call it as interest on investment in data. Data लिखोगे तो भी चलेगा. Interest on investment in data. That means what? Again I'll repeat. Today I sell goods on credit. I will get money after 80 days. तो मेरा पैसा 80 days के लिए ब्लॉक हो गया. Had I invested somewhere else, I would have got 15% return. So for the purpose of decision, I will take this into consideration. Got it? Now see, now be careful for the calculation. When I take interest on investment, you have to consider the sale value. Now what is the sale value? Sorry, sale value is 1 crore. Now the question is, do I take 1 crore, the sale price, or I take variable cost? Now here there is a difference of opinion among the authors. You can take anything, but the normal preferred trend is we take into consideration variable cost, or if there is fixed cost, variable plus. उसका logic क्या है? 1 crore, understand this. I am making a concept very clear. 1 crore का sale है, but my cost is not 1 crore because that 1 crore includes my profit. Profit कभी मिलेगा जब भी पैसा आएगा तभी. What I am doing? Calculating interest on investment. मैंने इन्वेस्ट कितना किया है? मेरा कॉस्ट ना. मैंने सेलिंग प्राइस तो इन्वेस्ट नहीं किया. How we get selling price? Cost plus profit is equal to selling price. So my amount invested as of now, amount blocked as of now is my cost. So what I will do is I will take into consideration only the cost. So 1 crore is my sale. 1 crore is my sale. Okay. उसका variable cost, that is 80%. Getting it? So I will take 1 crore का 80%. Even if you take 1 crore, it is fine because फिर अगर यहाँ पे 1 crore लोगे तो वहां पे भी 1 crore लेना. But normal trend is variable cost. All the authors have unanimously agreed to take that only. So we will also stick to that. So 1 crore is my selling price. 80% is my variable cost. So मेरा पैसा ब्लॉक हुआ 80 lakhs. But 80 lakhs पूरे साल के लिए ब्लॉक नहीं हुआ. What is my collection period? 80 days. आज गुड्स बेचा, 80 days में पैसा आया. वापस बेचा, 80 days में पैसा आया. So it is for 80 days. What is the rate of interest? 15%. So what I do? Into 15%. and it is blocked for 80 days. So 80 upon 365. So I'll repeat. One minute, I'll just थोड़ा ये हो गया. तो I'm just falling short of. तो मैं यहाँ से देता हूँ मैं. 1 crore into 80% into 15%. Money is blocked for 80 days. 15% is per annum. So I will take 80 upon 365. I will take 80 upon 365. Getting it, guys? I'll repeat. 1 crore is your sale price. 80% is my variable cost. I am taking cost. 15% is the per annum interest. And the money is blocked for 80 days. So I take 80 upon 365. Why? आज बेचा 80 days में पैसा आ गया. Next 80 days के बाद बेचा again 80 days में पैसा आ गया. So the funds is blocked for every 80 days only. Okay. So now let's take the calculation. 80 lakhs into 15% divided by 365 into 80 gives you 263. 2,63,001 rounded up. So the money block here is 2,63,014 purely because of interest on investment. Purely because of interest on investment. Clear with this, guys? This is the concept. Got it? So my interest on investment in debtors will be 1 crore ka 80% into 15% into 80 upon 365. That's it as far as the non-factor cost is concerned. That means this is my cost where factor is not appointed. Let's take the total of this. So 50,000 plus 1 lakh 263,014. So 4,13,014. Okay, this is my total cost when factor not appointed. Okay, this is my total cost when factor not appointed. Got it, guys? So if I manage my receivable on my own without taking the services of factor, my cost is 413,014. My cost is 413,014. Now I will take the second part, that is total cost when factor is appointed. Okay, so part B, I'll give the same heading. Calculation of total cost when factor appointed. Calculation of total cost when factor appointed. So particulars and single column of amount. Particulars and single column of amount. Got it, guys? Now listen. When factor was not there, I had three costs: bad debts, admin cost, interest on investment. Now, यहाँ पे my interest on investment is 80 days. वहाँ पे the factor will reduce it by 20 days, making it 60 days. So he will pay me after 60 days. So I'll do the same calculation. But what I did here for 80, there it will be 60. So in short, interest on investment in debtors will come at both the places. Now, bad debts, we discussed in the starting. If factor is appointed, he will look after bad debts. He will take care of bad debts. So bad debts निकल जाएगा, bad debt will be out. So when factor is there, bad debts will not come. Second point we saw, if factor is appointed, there is a saving in admin cost. That means अगर factor नहीं है तो admin cost आएगा, but अगर factor है तो admin cost नहीं आएगा. So in short, when factor is appointed, bad debts will be out, admin cost will be out. Bad debts will be out, admin cost will be out. So interest तो आएगा ही, but as I told you, factor is not a fool, उसका bread and butter है. So he will charge you some services, his services for a certain percentage, that is nothing but commission. So let's see. अभी देखो first point में 60 days that we don't need. Annual charge of factoring is 2% of turnover. That means factor का commission. Factor का commission will always be percentage of sales. यहाँ पे we cannot take cost because you are selling it for 1 crore. So factor 1 crore recover करेगा तुम्हारे लिए. So it will be on sales. So this will be 1 crore का 2% and 1 crore का 2% will give you 2 lakh rupees. 1 crore का 2% will give you 2 lakh rupees. 1 crore का 2% gives you 2 lakhs. Got it? So bad debts, admin cost out, these two will be replaced by commission. यहाँ पे factor था ही नहीं, so there is no question of commission. Nothing else there. As I told you, what remains is interest on investment. So same way, I will take interest on investment in debtors. I'll show you the logic. What you will do? Same calculation. 1 crore का sale. Okay. So 1 crore. Sorry. Into what is my variable cost? 80%. 80%. Rate of interest 15%. Now see, here my collection period was 80 days. Factor appoint करोगे, so the investment will get reduced by 20 days. So interest when I take, I will take only 60 upon 365. Okay, investment I will take only 60 upon 365. I'll just take it later. So I'll repeat. 1 crore, cost is 80%, rate of interest 15%, and 60 upon 365. Here it was 80, here it is 60. Advantage ये है कि फैक्टर हमें 20 दिन पहले पैसा देगा, तो यहाँ पे पैसा ब्लॉक हुआ, मनी वॉज ब्लॉक फॉर 80 डेज, यहाँ पे इट इज ब्लॉक फॉर 60 डेज. ओके, चलो लेट्स सी द कैलकुलेशन. 80 lakhs into 15% divided by 365 into 60 gives you 197 260. 197 260. Got it, guys? So my interest on investment 197 260. See, यहाँ पे 2,63,000 था, यहाँ पे 197. कम क्यों हुआ? Because here my money was blocked for 80 days, यहाँ पे 60 days. So यहाँ पे my cost was only for 60 days, but here my cost was for 80 days. So that is the reason यहाँ पे the cost is higher. That's it. No other information there. Take the total. We can do it orally only. So 397 260. 397 260. Got it, guys? So now see, sorry. When I appoint a factor, my total cost of managing is 397 260. When I don't appoint a factor, I manage on myself, my cost is 413014. I'll repeat. If I don't appoint a factor appoint nahi kar raha hu, my total cost is 413014. And when I appoint a factor, my total cost is 397,260. So now compare. Both are cost. So when I am taking a decision on the basis of cost, I will go for that option where my cost is less. कहाँ पे less है? So in this case, it is advisable to appoint a factor as the cost will be less. अगर ये less होता, we would have managed on our own. Factor की जरूरत नहीं. That's why I told in the starting. First, you have to do your R&D, you have to do your calculation, you have to be thorough with your homework. Whether it is feasible to appoint or no, उसके पहले ये calculation करना है, and then you have to decide. Entire FM is more of calculation and decision making only. No ledger account, no journal entries. Of course, yes, SEM you have that internal reconstruction, that is capital restructuring. It is repetition of internal reconstruction of SEM file. उसमें journal is there, but बाकी कुछ. You have never studied journal in FM right from your FI, but एक ही chapter में आएगा, but that is just a repetition of internal reconstruction of FI. So guys, that's it. So now my conclusion is I appoint a factor. Just write down the note, मतलब conclusion in the form of a note. Every sum के नीचे wherever they ask you whether it is advisable or no, you have to give your conclusion. लिखो इसके नीचे conclusion. Since the total cost is less, since the total cost is less, when since the total cost is less when factor is appointed, since the total cost is less when factor is appointed, it is advisable to appoint a factor. It is advisable to appoint a factor, or you can say advisable to take services of a factor. I'll repeat, since the total cost when factor is appointed is less, it is advisable to appoint a factor. Got it? This is what we are supposed to do. So this was, guys, a gist of the basic of factoring. You never know, you can get this level ka sum also for 15 marks. Got it? So I have tried to make the explanation very simple and precise, and I have made you understand this concept logically with the calculation ka logic also. Hope it is clear. Before we meet in the next class, please revise this, watch the video again so that you all can get it much easier in the next class. Next class में थोड़ा extra calculation आएगा. And what I am going to do in the next class, majority sums are based on that calculation only. But right now I am not discussing that. I don't want to create unnecessary panic, because first you have to get the concept. When I say panic, घबराओ मत मैं बैठा हूँ. I'm just telling you there are extra calculations which if I explain you now, you will get confused because you don't know what it is. So that we will see in the next class. As of now, just understand what I have taught you today. And again I am repeating, before we meet in the next class, please revise this so that you all can get the concept in a much better way and you all will feel more confident as compared to this first session. That's it, guys. I wind up the session here. Again repeating, we are on the third part of this chapter, working capital financing, that is factoring, and this is the last part of this chapter. This is a comparatively bigger chapter, the bigger part. At least 5 odd recordings will be there, maybe 1 or 2 more also. I don't know exact, because I will go slowly only. Even in the next class, I will just take one sum in the one video, then I will take more. So I will be going very slow so that you also can understand in a better way. That's it, guys. See you all in the next class where we'll continue with factoring. Till then, take care, guys.